And welcome back to Daily Wrap. If you go over to Newsmax.com, you can read a letter that Donald Trump has prepared for our audience where he reveals what his plans are to win the White House and the issues he will face. The letter can be found at the top of the Newsmax.com homepage. All you need to do is click on the link that says Donald Trump's urgent letter. Go there now. It is definitely worth a few minutes of your time. Ricky.
So, several months ago, we told you about Gravity Payments, their CEO, Dan Price, who decided to cut his own multi-million-dollar pay package in favor of increasing all of his employees' salaries up to a healthy $70,000 a year for each one of his employees. Now, Mr. Price was praised initially for his generosity, but now things appear to have taken something of a sharp turn. First, his brother Lucas, a co-founder of the company, wasted no time in suing his brother Dan for, quote, an aggregation of events over the course of years. Next, two longtime employees quit over their displeasure that junior employees would be making as much as they would, with one former employee noting that work ethics at the company had dropped considerably after the salary increase. And now there is news that some of Gravity Payments' clients are dropping the company over fears that there will be an increase in fees in order to cover the new higher salaries. So it seems that this salary experiment, though well-intended, does raise questions regarding what happens when someone artificially sets the minimum amount an employee is to be paid based on considerations other than the quality of the work provided. And that leads to the question of the minimum wage itself. If Mr. Price's decision to uniformly raise the salaries of all employees took away the incentive for other people to work hard, what does this say about what raising employee payment rates via a minimum wage increase might do, Joe?
First, I feel sorry for Dan Price. I think this was a genuine
It was. I mean, this
gesture.
guy was trying to do something cool.
Yes, exactly. Just people, they were making $30,000, $40,000 pay raise, but these are the results of what happens. Let me give you a story. I went to Spain, and when you're in Europe in general,
Then give us the story in Spanish then.
Okay. So, that would be impossible. Forgot that a long time ago. But I remember that while the food was great, I can never find a waiter. You know why? Because the tip is built into the bill. The incentive was taken away. And when that happened, the service went out the window because no one felt like they had to work harder to earn more money. And ever since then, I've never been a big fan. I agree in increasing the minimum wage maybe to something more like $10, $15 I think is a little bit ridiculous. But at the same time, you have to keep incentives there, or these are the sort of things that happen, Rick.
So Noah, let me ask you this. As many of the more skilled workers over at Gravity, they had basically achieved their salaries by time and working hard. They went up the ranks. Is it to be expected that when you give less skilled workers an equal salary, that they're going to have a problem with that and leave?
Sure, it makes perfect sense. I actually love this story a lot because as much as Mr. Price was demonstrating a lot of altruism, he was also being extraordinarily ignorant. A salary is a price for a unit of labor. You are pricing a unit of labor and setting that price based on its market value. When you artificially change that market value, it changes the nature of the unit of labor, and all of a sudden the labor that these senior individuals were putting in is worth a whole lot more. And it's worth more in the marketplace, and so they went out to the marketplace to fish for more money. That was what they were doing.
If there was another job
it's
there,
really simple economics 101.
Josh, isn't it true though that as we've seen minimum wage rules come into play over the years, that the market tends to adjust? If somebody beneath you, or less seniority, whatever, gets their minimum wage increase, doesn't it kind of stand to reason that those a little higher up the chain also get a raise? Isn't this what we've seen traditionally?
Yes, but I will say that I agree wholeheartedly with both Joe and Noah, which is that if you eliminate the incentive, you're encouraging entitlement. And that's why raising the minimum wage would not be a good idea. I mean, this is case in point. You have to earn your money. And that's the system we have. And that's, by the way, Rick, why conservatism is the political philosophy you ought to be advocating for. On all economic issues, not just the minimum wage.
What do you do? I mean, there's a reason we have a minimum wage, and that's because we've seen too many instances where employers will not allow certain workers to advance, and they can't make a livable wage.
I'm not saying to eliminate the minimum wage. We have a minimum wage. What I'm saying is not to have to raise it further.
Then you would have said the same thing the last time we raised it, and we never would have.
No, I wouldn't have, because we ought to have a bar and a standard that's set. But that standard is already set.
Says
Yes.
who? Why? Why is this the right standard?
Well,
The one we're currently at. Why wasn't it the one 5 years ago?
well, then where would you stop?
Well, but that
think
can
you
that
can
goes
put $20
both ways.
an hour.
But this is
$20 an
this is the problem. You're saying we already have the standard, but it was raised before. So wouldn't you have said the same thing 5 years ago and 10 years before that, et cetera, et cetera?
The issue-
We never would have gotten over $2.50 an hour.
Part of the issue.
Well, we're in 2015 now, and so I'm
Yeah,
only
but
speaking
Yeah.
from-
they are not
But then
making
again,
enough money.
but you have people asking for
Quickly.
$15 when it's $7.50 now. Doubling is ridiculous.
So it may
There is
be
a
too
middle
much.
somewhere,
Okay.
but asking for 15 is
All right, so let us know what you think about Gravity Payments raising their minimum salary to $70,000. You can weigh in on that question at newsmaxtv.com/comments. Let us know. We'll be curious to hear what you have to say. And coming up next, we're going to read some of your viewer comments, so don't go anywhere.